Hello, this is Gene Bermudez with the Gene Bermudez Insurance Agency, Farmers Insurance. And today I want to talk to you about how auto insurance can not only save you money, but most importantly, protect your assets. There's some major benefits that are available in the Farmers Insurance auto insurance plans that are available to you. And it's very important that you know the benefits so that you get prepared for what may take place if you're in an accident. But more importantly, how your bank account doesn't suffer due to unforeseen circumstances due to related accidents. And so the 5 things that I'm going to talk about today include bodily injury and property damage protection, protection from damage to your own car, protection from uninsured motorists, protection for accident-caused medical expenses, and most importantly, asset protection, or what we normally call an umbrella policy. So starting with bodily injury and property damage, let's say you're in a situation where you cause a minor collision, there's a glare, and from the sun setting, and it blinds you in rush hour traffic. The damage may be relatively minimal, but the other driver says that her neck is hurting. She got a pretty good jolt. Liability insurance would cover for any bodily injury or property damage to another vehicle resulting from a covered loss that's at your fault. So again, you're covered with auto insurance for bodily injury and property damage if you have auto insurance. The next thing I want to talk about is damage to your own car. You want to make sure that you have full coverage. Because let's say you're on your way to a ski trip, a ski weekend, you lose traction on an icy road. The impact when you slide into a guardrail, causes damage to your fender. And if you have, full coverage, collision coverage, you're going to be able to repair your vehicle if it's damaged. Or let's say it's a total loss, you're able to be compensated for its full value if it was a total loss. So again, especially if you have a newer vehicle, you should really have full coverage and collision coverage on your own vehicle. Next thing is uninsured motorists or uninsured damages. For example, let's say you suffer minor injuries when another driver runs into you at a red light, clips your car's fender, and on top of that, the person does not have auto insurance. Your uninsured motorist coverage covers the cost of your bodily injuries up to your policy limits when they are caused by an at-fault driver that does not have any auto insurance. Underinsured motorist coverage in that same scenario picks up the cost of your injuries when an at-fault driver has some coverage or some insurance, but not enough to cover all your damages. Another type of coverage, auto insurance coverage, is accident-caused medical expenses. Accident-caused medical expense insurance is going to cover situations where, let's say, you and your son were injured when you impacted the tree. Someone ran you off the road, you impacted a tree, and medical payment coverage can help with medical expenses if they're caused by a covered accident, regardless of who's at fault. So this is going to cover things like, hospital emergency room co-pays, or maybe the prescriptions that result from it. But again, it's a flat dollar amount, and it's usually going to cover those types of expenses. And then lastly, the thing you want to consider is something called an umbrella policy, which is intended to provide asset protection. And the umbrella policy is basically coverage above both your auto and home limits. So, for example, you're in an auto accident, you're at fault, and let's say your limits are at 500,000. If you had $1 million umbrella policy, that raises your coverage to $1.5 million in liability coverage. Same thing goes for your home. Let's say, same example, you have $300,000 of liability coverage on your home. Someone trips and falls, breaks their leg, sues you. Again, you would have up to in the same scenario with $1 million umbrella policy, you'd have $1.3 million of coverage. So this is very important, again, to protect your assets. I have a recent customer who came to me and signed on for a large umbrella policy because they received an inheritance and they want to protect that inheritance. And with that, again, just to recap quickly, the ways you can protect your assets with auto insurance. Number one is bodily injury and property damage coverage, making sure that you're covered if you're in an at-fault accident. Covering your own car with collision coverage, making sure that you have full coverage to ensure that your car is covered if you're in an accident. Uninsured motorist coverage. There's always situations where we see people getting into certain accidents that don't, where the other party does not have auto insurance or enough auto insurance to cover your damages, and so you want to ensure that you consider that type of coverage. Medical expense coverage, again, making sure that if there is an accident that you're in, regardless of who's at fault, that those expenses that come into play as a result of hospital visits or prescriptions are covered right off the bat. And then lastly, asset protection or an umbrella policy to ensure that your assets are protected with an umbrella policy that goes above your auto and home limits. With that, I appreciate your time as always, and please call our office at 505-268-7777 if you have interest in any of the stuff I've talked about today. We also provide home insurance, business insurance, and life insurance in addition to our auto insurance coverage. Thank you and good night.